From the time I was little, my grandparents were my whole world. They lived just down the road, and their house was my second home. Grandpa would teach me how to fix anything that was broken, his hands, callous but gentle, guiding mine. Grandma would fill the house with the smell of baking bread and tell me stories of her own youth, her eyes twinkling. They weren't just my grandparents, they were my biggest cheerleaders. They saw a spark in me, a thirst for knowledge, and they nurtured it. They were the ones who started my college fund. Every birthday, every holiday, instead of toys, they'd slip a crisp bill into an envelope with a note, "For your future, our brilliant girl." They believed I could be anything, an engineer, a scientist, someone who could change the world. That fund wasn't just money, it was their hopes and dreams for me, sealed in a bank account. It grew slowly over the years, a testament to their love and sacrifice. It was my ticket out, my chance to build a life beyond our small town, a life they dreamed of for me. My sister Sarah and I were always different. While I was lost in books, she was lost in daydreams of a glamorous life. She wanted designer bags and fancy cars, a life straight out of the magazines she devoured. Our parents, bless their hearts, always had a soft spot for her. They called her their free spirit, while I was the responsible one. I didn't mind. I had my own dreams. A clear path laid out in front of me. Graduate, go to a top engineering school, and make my grandparents proud. The fund was nearing $50,000 by the time I was a senior in high school, more than enough to cover tuition and board for the first couple of years. My acceptance letter to my dream university felt like the final piece of the puzzle falling into place. My future was bright, tangible, and I owed it all to my grandparents' unwavering faith. The summer before college was supposed to be a time of celebration and anticipation. Instead, it became the season my world shattered. I went to the bank to set up a student account to finally see the numbers I had only ever imagined. I handed the teller my account information, my heart pounding with excitement. She typed for a moment, then frowned. She typed again. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice soft with pity, "but this account was closed up 3 months ago. The balance is zero." The world went silent. All I could hear was a rushing sound in my ears. Zero. It wasn't possible. I asked her to check again, my voice trembling. She showed me the screen. The withdrawal slip was signed by my parents. They had joint access, a safety measure we'd all agreed on. I drove home in a daze, the world a blurry mess outside my car window. I found my parents in the kitchen. I laid the bank statement on the table, my hand shaking so badly the paper rattled. "What is this?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. My mom wouldn't look at me. My dad cleared his throat. "Honey, there was an investment opportunity," he started. "We thought we could double it for you." The lie was so thin, so pathetic, it was insulting. I looked at their faces, the guilt written all over them, and I knew. "Where's Sarah?" I demanded. The silence was my answer. It turned out Sarah had gotten herself into some serious trouble with a bad crowd and even worse debts. To help her get a fresh start, my parents had given her my entire college fund, every penny my grandparents had sacrificed for, every dream they had for me. Handed over to my sister to fix a mess of her own making, they told me they were sorry, that they would pay me back. But the betrayal was a physical ache in my chest. It wasn't about the money. It was that they had chosen her over me. They had sacrificed my future for her mistakes. A few months later, invitations arrived for Sarah's wedding. It was a lavish affair far beyond what her new husband's family could afford. There were imported flowers, a gourmet caterer, a designer dress that must have cost a fortune. As I stood there watching her laugh, and toast to her new life. All I could see was my stolen future. Every beautiful detail of her wedding was paid for with my dreams. My parents beamed with pride, parading around as if they hadn't just shattered my world. They asked me to give a speech to be a happy, supportive sister. I couldn't. The words wouldn't come. I just stood there, an invisible ghost at the feast. The bitterness of poison in my veins. That night, I packed a bag. I couldn't stay in that house a moment longer. The next 4 years were the hardest of my life. I still went to my dream school, but it was a different dream now. I worked 3 jobs. I was a barista at dawn, a library assistant between classes, and a waitress late into the night. Sleep became a luxury I couldn't afford. My diet consisted of instant noodles and cheap coffee. While my classmates went to parties and joined clubs, I was scrubbing dishes or shelving books, my textbooks propped up against the sink. I was exhausted, constantly running on fumes. But I was also fueled by a new kind of determination, a defiant, stubborn refusal to let them win. I would not be broken. I would get my degree. I would build the life my grandparents wanted for me, and I would do it on my own terms. Every I earned, every exam I passed, was a victory. It was a testament to my own strength, a strength I never knew I had. When I finally walked across that graduation stage, diploma in hand, I wasn't just graduating with honors. I was graduating with the knowledge that I had saved myself. Fast forward 10 years. I built that life. I have a successful career as an engineer, a beautiful home, and a life I'm proud of. I kept my distance from my family. The calls were infrequent, the visits even rare. The wound never truly healed, it just scarred over. Then, one Tuesday evening, my phone rang. It was Sarah. We hadn't spoken in over a year. My stomach twisted into a knot. I knew this wasn't a social call. Her voice was strained, artificially cheerful. She asked about my work, my life, all the superficial things people talk about when they want something. Then, the real reason for the call. So, listen, she started, her voice dropping. Mark and I are in a bit of a tight spot. We made some bad investments. You know how it is. We need a loan, just to tide us over. I was thinking, maybe 50,000. 50,000. The exact amount. The universe has a cruel sense of humor. The air left my lungs. The room started to spin. All the pain, the anger, the years of struggle came rushing back. I was that 18-year-old girl in the bank all over again. I took a deep, shaky breath. 50,000, I repeated, my voice dangerously quiet. That's a very specific number, Sarah. There was a pause. Well, yeah, I just figured. You're doing so well, and I cut her off. Let me tell you what I'm doing so well with. Sarah, I'm doing well with the life I built after you and Mom and Dad stole my future. I am doing well with the career I got after working 3 jobs to put myself through the school you were supposed to pay for. Every single thing I have, I bled for. While you were having your fairy tale wedding, I was living on ramen and 2 hours of sleep a night. So no, you cannot have $50,000. You cannot have 50 cents. You burned that bridge and you danced in the ashes. We have nothing more to say to each other. I hung up the phone, my hand trembling not with weakness, but with a decade's worth of righteous anger. The fallout was immediate. My parents called. Their voices a mix of pleading and anger. She's your sister, my mom cried. How can you be so cold? We're family. The word felt like a lie. Family doesn't sacrifice one child for another, I said, my voice finally steady, finally strong. Family doesn't steal their daughter's dreams and then ask for a handout 10 years later. You made your choice a decade ago when you gave her my college fund. Now you have to live with it. And so do I. But my life is my own, and none of you are entitled to any part of it. I told them that if they ever wanted a relationship with me again, it would be on my terms, and it would start with them paying back every single dollar they took from me with interest. The silence on the other end of the line was deafening. I knew it was a check I would never see. Hanging up that final call felt like taking my first real breath in 10 years. A profound sense of peace washed over me. It wasn't about revenge. It was about reclaiming my power. It was about drawing a line in the sand and declaring my own worth. For so long, I had let their actions define me, letting the betrayal fester. But now I was free. I learned that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to walk away from the people who refuse to see your value. My real family was my grandparents, whose love built my foundation, and the person I became through my own hard work and resilience. I am not a victim of my past. I am the architect of my future, and my future is bright. Thanks for listening.